Read of the Law. My name is Ada Amenjoko, and I'll be your host for tonight's insightful show. So if you're a South African or you have foreign friends, or you're a foreigner, or perhaps you're an immigration practitioner, this show is definitely for you, as we'll be discussing the proposed amendments to the South African immigration regulations. My guest tonight is an expert in immigration law and practices, and his name is Mr. Pieter Britz of PM Immigration. Welcome to the show, and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
How was your day?
Hectic, busy Monday.
Busy Monday,
Yes.
Very busy. How busy?
Busy.
Well, you have wealth of experience in this area, and it's something that you're also very passionate about, because you are giving people an opportunity to earn their livelihood in South Africa. Talk to us about the amendments. When we talk about amendment, what does it mean, and what is the process of amending a regulation or a legislation in South Africa?
The process of regulating or amending a regulation starts at Parliament.
Okay.
Only Parliament can change the law, and the National Assembly has to run through the various paces to receive a bill, run through a bill, and actually put that into law. The President signs that ultimately to make sure that it makes sense for the country, and it's a long process to happen. So a very process to consider, and Parliament is the actual answer to the question.
Oh, okay. And, it's when we look at the amendments that are proposed amendments that are going to take place or that are in the process, and then we also consider the fact that 4 years ago, the immigration regulations were amended. In your opinion, do you think it's too soon that these amendments are happening now, or is it actually necessary?
I personally think, out of experience, it's high time.
Yeah.
There was a wealth of problems that actually happened in terms of the current Immigration Act and regulations. You see that clearly by the amount of directives that the Department of Home Affairs had to issue shortly after the 2014 implementation. It was actually, in terms of law, in terms of a way forward, a very rash and harsh decision to have an Immigration Act and regulation that is fairly open and fairly fair to public and foreigners, to close it into a security cluster. Because I think that was ultimately the goal, or the addition the government wanted to bring to the Department of Home Affairs. We see that with the biometric system that they want to implement. That also happened in 2014. They want no more faceless people. So I do think they overreached to a high degree in terms of looking at the security and not closing down the country, but making it difficult. It was extremely difficult, and currently is. We also find that with the critical skills visas, the work visas, business visas, those things, it was a big shock to the country system. Being that as it may, I think 3 years, actually not 4 years, the current minister said at that time to have a review of this, because of all the legislation that was against her. Was a lot of court cases that were against Home Affairs. There were one in favor of the plaintiffs. So all those things in consideration, I think it's high time, and government also saw this was not good. This is not good, especially in your travel industry. There's a lot of problems there as well. So no, I think it's high time.
In my opinion, personally, I think these problems were caused because they didn't do thorough consultation with immigration practitioners like yourself, who actually have on-the-ground experience with immigration practices, I think. In your opinion, do you agree, though? I mean,
my opinion, I'm not allowed to agree as such, but obviously we were told there are stakeholders that Home Affairs were looking at or consulting with at that point in time, and those stakeholders found it fit to actually do more of a security cluster thing than anything else. I don't think it was correct. I think there was lack of consultation, a lot of lack of consultation. If you look at, for example, just on a critical skills list basis, the amount of paperwork and third parties that any applicant had to run through just to get a recommendation letter or certificate to say that he is actually part of this professional body, institution, this is qualifications, his experience. It was time consuming. There was no consultation for that. The feeling was just that government made legislation and they would sort it out as they go along. That was the feeling that we got on the floor. It was, well, And it created problems. Then one by one, a directive was issued. No, don't look at law, rather do this. And that's how we saw that this is a problem. So in essence, yeah, I think it was lack of prior consultation. We are hopeful that with the new changes in the current white paper that they will look at that, because we were, and when I say we, as our forum, the Forum of Immigration Practitioners of South Africa, we were consulted. We were given the time of day to lay down this is what we're experiencing.
Yes.
In the previous regulations, we never had that opportunity. So we're hopeful that they would listen to us in terms from our point of view, because we do the application from grassroots level.
Yes.
So the consultation from us would have been good, yes.
Just out of curiosity, what's going to happen if they actually don't take into consideration your opinions with respect to this amendment?
They will have the same scenario that they have currently, and will persist. They will get more court cases against them. They'll have more flack from public. They'll have more problems from industry, and they'll have more problems getting through it. In terms of the analysis of the white paper, it was found on Stats SA as well that the type of migrant that comes to South Africa, the type of migrant that comes to South Africa, obviously will, at this point in time, is more of your low-skilled person that's got a spouse in South Africa versus the type of migrant that you're looking for, the economic migrant, which is highly skilled, investment person, those types. So I think they saw on a stats basis that what they're doing was not correct, and they had to realign that to have more skills in South Africa brought here by relaxing those requirements for the skills. Obviously, if you're, for instance, a doctor or engineer, you have to be good in what you do. You can't just open the floodgates and say, yes, come on and come all. But I think they have to reconsider that process to make it easier, to make it more attractive.
Okay. Moving to the contents of the amendments, how will it affect different types of visas? And I'm talking about work visas, business visas, and any other kind of visa.
All right. The most important parts that we extrapolated was your citizenship.
Yes.
Currently, there's in law that if you spend 10 years as a permanent resident in South Africa, you can then apply for your naturalization application, 100% proof by law, you'll get it.
Yeah.
99.9% you'll get it.
Yeah.
That they're going to do away with that.
And I've been waiting to become a citizen of South Africa.
You should have applied earlier. Yeah, that's the one they're looking at. They're going to base that, as we read in the white paper, based on essence, why is this person in the country? Are they contributing to South African country of law? Are they contributing to the way of life in South Africa? So that's what they're looking at on a base of merit. Why are you here? That's what the standpoint that we saw. That's the one thing that they're looking at. Also, there will be an induction course that's brand new to South Africa.
Induction for citizenship.
For citizenship, there will be a formal ceremony. There will be induction.
Are you serious? Will there be food? Sorry.
We hope so. I would like to attend that.
Okay.
What also is happening, the permanent residence permit as we know it currently, that will get replaced with long-term visas, which means you can't wait your 5 years and then apply for PR, because also with permanent residence, there's not much you need to do to retain it. You can retain it indefinitely as long as you abide to those 1 or 2 or 3 conditions per category. So they found that no, they'd rather have a long-term visa, 5-year, 10-year visa, and that needs to get renewed, so you can actually stay in the context of the need for that visa. So that is the rationale that they had for that.
So then when will you qualify to apply for PR?
They won't qualify for PR. It'll be a long-term visa and then citizenship if you qualify according to their criteria basis. That's proposed. We don't know if they'll be signed into law, but that's the current thing. Then attracting highly skilled individuals, they are looking at relaxing that as well. They're looking at a point-based system instead of the current run through all the different professional bodies and documentation, this, that, and that. They're looking at age, work experience, those type of point bases, as you will find in Australia, New Zealand, and those things. So that might be a step.
Canada too.
Canada as well. So that might be a step in a good direction, or the right direction. That's what we're looking at. The Department of Trade and Industry, our forum as FIPSA also consulted with them when the white paper came up to say that this is what is the problem with DTI, the trade industry, because the 5 million investment was also a big problem because it's a big amount to bring to start a business in South Africa. Obviously, that changes from business to business. I mean, if you're opening a big dealership, obviously 5 million is nothing.
Yeah.
But if you're opening, let's say, diamond industry or something like that, meaning you've got a shop and you've got small expenses.
Yes.
If you, let's say, you're a computer programmer, you don't need 5 million rand. So those things, it doesn't always make sense. So in the white paper, they're relaxing that, also looking at the nature of the application, and they will put that through their obviously the structure that they have in place to verify and get those study visas. They're also going to turn to the long-term study visas in the critical skills. And if you have a long-term visa in a critical skill category, you may then also apply for citizenship going forth. So they're relaxing those things, so that it does look like they are repositioning from what they're lacking to more prone to what they should be looking at. And they took some time for them to get the data, get the stats, see what they're doing wrong. So yeah, we're hopeful that they will change to that. There will be more relaxation for the SADC regions in South Africa. In African continent. The SADC areas, they're actually looking at expanding to that to make those more visa-free. So same like Zimbabwe or other neighboring countries, but further up north, those not to need to apply for actual visa, just to get entry stamps. So they're looking at relaxing all those types of visas.
I hope they can relax it for Nigeria.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, I'm
Me
very
too.
positive about that.
You're positive about that? Might be a good thing.
Yes, it will. Okay, so that's it.
Well, that's in a nutshell what they're looking at. So the basis of the security cluster closing down, they're shifting to more of the investment, the highly skilled personnel, and to relax those laws for those people. The permanent residents falling away, I think it's a little bit of a change, which I think is a big change.
Yeah.
If it will be good, time will tell.
Yeah.
The citizenship thing, I don't think. I think time is a bit of a given. There's nothing wrong with changing that, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
It's not from an entrepreneur point of view, but from a broad-based point of view. If you're not a person that contributes to South Africa or is here for a good positive reason, it's probably the reason why they're saying no. You have to stay or go or prove your worth. I think that's the point of view that they're going on.
Okay. So what's going to happen to those people who actually have permanent residence now with an ID book and now need to get citizenship? Would that still apply to them, or they can just go straight to Home Affairs and apply for citizenship?
Well, if you have a current PR, your PR will stay. Nothing will cancel your PR, because law doesn't work like that. It's not retrospective.
Okay.
You'll keep your PR.
Yes.
But to change from that to citizenship, they'll use the basis of not time, but the basis of merit. And there'll be a big application. They'll see what is the merit, what is your industry, why are you here, and they'll be able to migrate from that basis. So you'll never lose your PR, but the application process, I think, will be lengthy. And also, you must understand, the moment that they open that process, South Africa will apply.
Yes.
So you're going to have a bottleneck.
Yeah.
So it will take time. Luckily, your PR is the word says, permanent, but it will take some time to get citizenship, especially if you're having extra. If you have got a panel of adjudicators, instead of currently you've got one adjudicator per file, now I've got a panel per person. It will take time. And the ceremony thing, it might be nice. I think it could be a good thing to build spirit and to have.
Well, I'm already excited about it.
Oh, great! We'll let you know when it happens.
Yeah, it will. It would really be an exciting thing.
Yeah.
So when we look at the amendments, right, and we look at the objectives that, set objectives by the Department of Trade and Industry, Department of Home Affairs, or the government as a whole, how will this amendment actually affect those set objectives? Because I know, for example, they're trying to attract more businesses into the country, more critical skills holders into the country, professionals, highly skilled professionals into the country. How will these amendments actually affect them? Would it be positive or would it be negative? I'm talking about the long run. I'm not just talking about something that, short term. And will these amendments actually help them resolve some of the issues that they currently have?
If the amendments are dealt with properly, in terms of the regulations, and they take time with the regulations, I do think it's a good turn of events. I think it will be a very positive thing for the country if they can actually take time and thoroughly run through these changes and see what the long-term effects are. I personally think the long-term effects on a point-based system will be good.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be a bad thing at all. I do think that the effect will be drastically positive versus what we have now, only if they take the time to thoroughly look through it. Because if they just snap it in next year and say, this is law, this is regulation, we'll know there will be problems. So I personally think the longer they take now to work through these regulations and put them nicely in order, the better it will be at the end of the day. So in the current timeline, as we're hearing from word on the street, they're looking at 2019, 2020, plus minus, and we're hopeful for that time it will be put into place. We will fear if it happens next year or anytime sooner, we don't think it will be a good change. Just basically for the mere fact of consultation and to see and just thoroughly think this through. Because there's a lot of things that you need to take in consideration. It's not just change something now, you've got a point-based and stuff. You've got so many applications currently in the pool.
Yeah.
And currently to change that overnight,
Yes.
it has to be a systemic change, which means you're going to start changing from this point to that point, and you have to change it over time. You can't just say day, night, now not. We saw that with the current regulations. I mean, one day you're still applying it at Home Affairs. The very next day was a Friday. They changed it. Monday, you applied VFS, like overnight. It's like people, it was a shock.
Yeah.
It was a shock of note. Then the problem with what happens also, if you change such a vast amount of legislation, you must understand your adjudicators at Home Affairs. They're used to the old system. There's nothing that happens overnight, so, okay, change new system. It takes time. It's a slow turn. So this comes back to a previous question. Do you think it's high time? Yes, I think it's high time they change it.
Okay. Now, how will it affect you as an immigration practitioner, your business?
Business-wise, I don't think it's going to affect us that much in a negative sense. I think to a high degree it will affect us in a positive way, especially if they work through the changes properly. If they do slap it down like the previous regulations, it will affect us negatively, because that's what happens. A lot of immigration practitioners had to scale down, and a lot of staff members lost employment due to the fact that they could not cater anymore for this certain demographic or type of applicant because they don't qualify. And if you don't qualify for said visa, there's no space in the country. You need to vacate, you need to be deported or go back home. And that was a very bad thing, because you've got applications in terms of a spousal application. You're married to somebody here. Now, for some reason, you don't qualify anymore. You're constitutionally, nobody can separate you from your spouse. If you're married, if you're married in South Africa with a foreigner, you must stay. They can't separate you by law. So there was a lot of those things also that were not thought through. The biggest problem was the general work visa. That was a big issue, because they gave that mandate, which is not really a mandate because there is no mandate, to the Department of Labour. The Department of Labour had now to decide, all right, fine, are we going to give said foreigner for whatever said skills and match them up to our local unemployment? So the process is completely flawed, and I apologize by saying that, but facts are facts. We've been dealing with that for 4 years now. The way the Department of Labour actually looks at these applications, we think is very pessimistic. It's very negative. You get very rarely positive recommendation, and the most negative recommendation is just an assumption, while they're saying the resource is in the country, and this is not a good application for the country. They don't give reason. They don't delve into that nitty-gritty as the law says. You need to do a due diligence. If you have done your due diligence, then you can actually get the visa. But unfortunately, the Department of Labour, they did not go to that mandate. So we're hopeful they will change for that as well in the new regulations.
Right.
And
Okay, how can we contact you? We're out of time. And I have so many more questions I want to ask you. But how can we contact you?
All right, I can be contacted by landline. It's 011 907 6246, or alternatively on email, info@immigrations.co.za.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You've heard it. We are all anticipating the passing of that bill, the new amendments. I'm so excited about it. And I'm also really excited about the citizenship induction, because I'm already waiting for my citizenship. We'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to spiritofthelaw@lovewordsat.org. You can also watch us online on www.lovewordsat.org. Download the mobile app LoveWordsat and watch us on the go. From me, Ada Amanjoka, and the Spirit of the Law crew, it's good night and God bless.